Okay, so we're back again to talk about breakups, and we've had our tower moments, and we're looking at life and we're going, wow, what just happened? And I was discussing this in a separate video, but this is really an addition I'm creating so that we can get to the real bottom of how we deal with these issues and how we move through it. A lot of times when it happens, it's just so shocking to us, and it can be for various reasons. It can be, maybe there was a third party involvement, maybe it was a situation where there was a karmic involved. It might have been a mutual thing that you guys both decided that, look, it's just best that we go our separate ways. And regardless, you've got that healing time. You've got that time where you're meditating on the situation. And it's not just meditating, it can be real gross healing at the best of times, where you don't want to wake up, you're hugging the tissue box, you're to the point you just don't quite understand. Now, that's a very difficult time to manifest. It's a very hard time to be able to, push things forward. But there is a time frame where you will be able to observe it from a very different point of view. Initially, no, you don't actually get that. When you're in the crux of it, it feels like it's never going to end. The thing is, each day, what you will find is it will become a little bit more bearable, and you'll be able to address 3D related things in your life. So that can be anything towards, your bills, or working, emotionally kind of dealing with it at each given point in time. Also getting to a point where you're gradually processing what has transpired. Now, that is healthy as well. But the trigger points you'll find are probably first thing in the morning and late at night. So really the key point I would highly suggest is to have an action plan for those times. It can be weekends where you usually would have been doing something with the partner. There can be points in the day where you might have been sharing a meal with them, and trying to fill that time in you becoming proactive inside your life, or just trying to keep busy. Now, you can't do that at all times, because if you are avoiding the conflict of that energy, what will happen is it's a suppression of it, and that can be problematic. So try to address those trigger points. So if it means you're redirecting your energy in a more positive dynamic, then try and direct it in a way that you're keeping yourself busy. So if that's you giving yourself a little bit of time to do that grieving, do that. You'll find you'll wake up and you'll really be pushing yourself through the day to get things done. It might be that you have children and you're trying to make sure that they're okay during the day, and you're giving all you've physically got, and at the end of the day you're sitting there going, thank God that's over. But then the thinking comes, because your day has cleared up and you've got way too much time to think. You may need that time. You may need that time to process the energies of what has transpired and how you directly feel about it. Also, try to be gentle on yourself when you're having the feelings, but if it does become problematic, you may need to actually reach out and talk to people, or get that emotional or spiritual support, or have the counseling if it's really to that point where it's extremely heavy. But if you feel you can spiritually move through the aspects of the emotions, like I said, be gentle to yourself and process it as it comes. Also, try not to overcompensate. If you were in a partnership and it has broken down and there were children involved, try not to overcompensate and make that a bed of roses, because it is part of life and these things can happen. We can't make it perfect to a point where they don't see or experience that, because, they would have friends at school that have dealt with that, and there's support directly connected to schools for the kids. Also, there may be an open communication that you can share with your children to help grow your bond and help them through the process, but also keep checking in with self that you're okay, that everything's fine, and just, keep going. Basically, put one step in front of the other and keep moving through it to a point that you're moving yourself from that energy. Deal with the adversity as it comes. Try not to think of forward motion too much. It's very difficult to look 20 weeks ahead when you're still in the frequency of the energy. If you're looking too far ahead, that again is going to be problematic because you're currently feeling the old energy, as well as there can be, you know, you're dealing with the children, you could be dealing with your job, and adding to that dynamic is just going to increase the problems. So if it's something you don't need to physically worry about right now, even if you're getting triggered and you're thinking, what if X, Y, and Z happens, tune out of it, because it's just not going to help your situation to be meditating on the ifs, the whats, and the whens. If it's out of your control, let that go and keep the energy back in self so you can keep quite focused and grounded. Now, sometimes you'll even find there's certain cards in tarot that come up. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is it's a way you can look at it. It's not the only way, but it is a certain way you can look at it. And it can be that you were stuck, right? It can be that you were stuck and you feel, and this can be where you currently feel right now, that you just can't get out. You just can't get out of it. But theoretically, this card is all about the fact that it's a mental prison. And really, when you're going through that healing, it is a mental prison. The fears consume you to a point you physically feel you just can't do anything. It's out of your power. Some of it's out of your control. What is out of your control? It is going to be a mental anguish. It's going to be really coming to terms with what has transpired, be that a third party, or, you know, you not being able to manage the energy of who do you give it to? Do you give it to your boss? Do you give it to this person, X, Y, and Z? Or an external situation that's triggered this. This could have been a mother or father-in-law. This could have been children. This could have been, you know, a job. It could have been another person who entered into the dynamic. Whatever it be, you know, you feeling stuck in that frequency and that energy can be very heavy. But having been that you're out of it, the Tower came. But the thing is, generally, in a relationship, if it's got to that point, be it you decided or they decided, and you're wanting to manifest it back in, regardless, what you got to get, it was a heavy energy. It was something that wasn't working. There was something in it that there was no balance. There was a lack of balance in some shape or form. There may have been a lack of give and take. However it goes, something didn't fit correctly to the way you guys were both at a frequency. You still want clarity, which is very common. You want clarity, you don't understand, you're processing it. So your mind sort of works similar to tarot, to the point where there's equations that generally happen. There can be a negative energy, it can be hard feelings, it can be the way in which you communicate towards each other can be toxic. The way the energy of the give and take was out of balance, that again can be there. However that goes, something wasn't quite balanced. Again, it can be anguish and, you know, energy not dispersed correctly. Wanting clarity. This can be during the fact. Feeling completely stuck, but still needing the clarity, but knowing that these situations at times were going on, or perhaps at times not knowing. And then generally with universe, what happens is a Tower happens. Now, this can be fixed. It's not saying it can't be fixed. And there's many videos on YouTube that talk about different dynamics. Now, the way I'm going to explain this to you is, first you need to get yourself through. Number one point is with the Tower, it needed to come down because it was built on a faulty foundation. Now, if you can look at your life of where you are right now, the reality is what it is, and that is key to dealing with just now. Manifesting a person back in, or getting your life balanced, or moving in a particular direction, that is separate to this point in time. This point in time to feel that you're stuck can then again be this energy coming back again, where it's that negative old residue vibration that is with you that needs to be purged. And that's the hard crux of it. So although you might have left the situation or wish to return, but want the balance, the reality is by dealing with the hurt, the emotion, the triggers, what transpired, you then can look at it how you can apply your energy differently. But at that 3D point of where you are, you physically need to heal that before you can go back into another situation or directly to that person. So moving through that energy during your day is going to be problematic. So it is going to be, you're going to be up in your head. You're also going to feel mental anguish, like you're stuck. But it's the fear connected to it. So at times, because we've gone through that, we do sort of look at it and go, well, how do we know that the next person's not going to do this to us? How do we know that if we invest in the old person, the same thing isn't going to happen? Foundation building is key, okay? Especially in soulmate twin flame connections, especially moving out of karmic connections. Any dynamic can hurt, and anyone who leaves a relationship, be it the person did wrong to you or, you know, vice versa, whether you were the perpetrator or the victim, however it goes, regardless, no person comes out of a connection unscathed. There can be guilt, there can be shame, there can be, maybe I made the wrong decision, oh gosh, why did I do that? Wish it didn't go that way. However it goes, no person ever comes out of a connection unscathed. Now, regardless of that, you are key right now. Looking after you to get your frequency up so that you can start looking after your 3D world is very important. So be mindful that you need to have a go-to plan when it comes to what are you going to do in the evening, what are you going to do in the morning, how are you going to cope with your day. It may be you need to get a notepad and you need to write things down so that you actually can keep on top of things. It can be that you be gentle with yourself and not try and overcompensate. Try again not to tune into the future too far. Try and keep very 3D in the here and now. And as much as I can say to you, don't keep looking backwards over the old energy. You will regardless. There's no way out of it. Our mind goes like a minefield and we replay it over in our mind like a projector. If you need to cry and release it, you need to cry and release it. If you once you're grounded, you can turn that energy into alchemy, but it's getting you there, which is the key. It's getting it to the point where you can come back to yourself and you can go, okay, what am I going to do from here? How do I now get myself back on track? But that will be in the next video. So the key points I want to make in this is you may have moved away from the energy, but you're still vibrating in that energy when you're healing. So if you can redirect yourself into your life and be gentle while you're moving through that, have an action plan for the evenings, have go-to people where you can talk to them if you spiritually feel you can to heal yourself, and try not to think of the worst case scenario, especially if you're wanting that person back. You know, don't get into that mindset of, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. Because 9 times out of 10, that's actually not what it's about. And again, I will be making videos on that so that I can give you the help to help you heal quicker so that you don't get into that fear-based energy of lack. Because 9 times out of 10, especially if there's a third party, it directly had nothing to do with you. It was a lack within them. Okay, so again, I will do a separate video about that. At this point in time, look at the tower moment you've experienced, more that there was a fault in the foundation. You're healing your foundation right now and your spiritual foundation. Be it, you know, you are getting grounded, praying. Again, have something to believe in so that you can get grounded. So do some spiritual work on yourself, whatever that be. Try to have an action plan for the evening so that you can keep your mind busy. Be it you have a book of positive quotations and you read it. Be it you have snippet videos in a folder, which I may create, and you can just go to some funny videos to listen to for a bit. If you don't want to, just be in your energy of your thoughts, but try and now and then step away from that. So action plan for night time. Maybe having a conversation on the phone while you're eating so you don't feel so lonely or isolated, especially if you're alone. Adding exercise into the equation so that it's filling your day. Filling your day is important. If you had a particular routine in a partnership, filling that routine can really be crucial so that you're so that you're not still living in that old energy of the previous routine. Building a new routine can actually help you change your frequency and feel a bit more alive, and having that sense of the potential new normality of what it's going to be, however that's going to be in the future. So action plan for the evening: having friends to network with, being gentle with yourself, not overcompensating, and don't look too far ahead. Be in the moment, be in the frequency, move through the energy, and there'll be more videos to come.